channel. Today I have got a little video for you which I thought would hopefully be useful to a lot of you. And basically that is how to disguise your pores or make your pores look like they're smaller or just hide them altogether. Believe me, when it comes to pores, I know a thing or two because personally I have humongous pores. I know you guys can see them because I get a lot of comments like, oh my god, your pores are huge. Which to be fair, they are. I know. So anyway, yes, I personally have very, very large pores, especially around my cheeks, like the apples of my cheeks, and my nostrils. Lovely! I do also have incredibly oily skin, and I think those two go hand in hand. Hand in hand. I sounded like such a bogan just then. Okay, now one thing you need to remember when it comes to pores is that there is no way that you can get rid of pores altogether. They are a natural part of the skin. They're not going anywhere. There's really not a lot that you can actually do in order to shrink them physically or anything like that. At least that's what I've always been told at makeup college and work and all that jazz, and I tend to believe that's true. You can minimize the appearance of them. You can make them look smaller by making sure they're clean and that there's no sebum or goo or gunk or anything like that stuck in your pores. If your pores are clogged, that's when they look huge. If your pores are clogged with dirt and debris and things like that, that's when you start getting blackheads and whiteheads, etc. That is not what we're talking about today. Basically, I just want to show you how you can minimize the look of your pores with your foundation. So I just want to give you a little bit of background information before I get into the tutorial so that you actually know what I'm doing and you don't freak out. Alright, so basically what you need to do when you're applying your foundation is make sure you work the foundation into your pores. I know that sounds disgusting. You know how primers are all the rage at the moment because primers apparently fill in your pores and they make you look poreless, etc, etc. Basically what the primer is doing is it is filling in your pore. It's going inside your pore, it's filling that pore up, so that way when your foundation goes over the top it feels very smooth and it looks smooth. Personally, I am not a fan of primers. A lot of you guys ask me in the comments what primer I use. I don't use any primer. They don't work for me. I don't believe in them. I think you need a good moisturizer and a good foundation, and that's it. So anyway, if you use a primer, that's already going in your pores, okay? So that's out of the way. So yes, technically we are filling in the pore. No, we are not blocking the pore. So filling in the pore and blocking the pore, two different things. To achieve a poreless look, you kind of actually do need to fill in the pore because otherwise if the pore is not filled in, it's going to look far more obvious. If the pore is filled in with your foundation and that foundation is on the rest of your face, it's all going to look like one smooth skin, not pore skin, pore skin, pore skin. So although we are putting makeup into the pores, it is not going to clog the pores as long as you remove it when you're removing your makeup. Which brings me on to the last thing I'm going to tell you before I get into it, and that is you need to remove your makeup properly, obviously. And in my opinion, you need to use a face brush to help you unclog the pores and get everything out of the pores, keep them nice and clean so that they will not look huge. Personally, I use the Vitagoods Spin for Perfect Skin Brush. I'll put it in the description box down below for you. That's the best one that I found because I have very temperamental skin, but that brush is very gentle and it does not irritate my skin, but it keeps it clean. So without further ado, let me get into the tutorial and show you how you can minimize the look of your pores with foundation. By the way, I'm about to do a really, really big close-up, so prepare yourself. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is moisturize your skin because we do not want to cause hyperexfoliation to our skin. So if you have dry or dehydrated skin, this part is going to be essential. If you don't have dry or dehydrated skin, you should do this step anyway. What I'm using at the moment is the Hydra Beauty Micro Serum from Chanel. This is Chanel's new serum. It's basically like depositing water underneath your skin's surface. It's not greasy, it's not oily, it is water-based. So I'm going to apply a little bit of that all over my face, and that's just going to make sure I don't have any flaky bits of skin and my skin is moisturized. Okay, you want to let that soak into your skin for as long as you can, really. I'd say about 5 minutes. 3 to 5 minutes is optimal. Okay, so the first point you need to know is that if you apply your foundation, you know, normally all over the skin, what it's going to do is it's just going to sit on top of the pore. It's not going to fill the pore in, and the pore is going to leave a big gap in your foundation. It's just going to look like a big gaping hole, depending on the size of your pores, obviously. So I'm going to show you the difference on the two sides of my face first of all, so you can actually see what I'm talking about. Foundation that I'm using as always is the Chanel Perfection Lumiere Velvet Foundation, and the color I wear is Tan Beige. So I'm just going to apply my foundation normally on the side of my face. I'm just kind of sweeping it across my face. Okay, so what you need to do is get a small brush. My favorite one to use for this is the Sigma Buff and Blend E39 brush. Yes, this is an eyeshadow brush, but the reason I like to use it to disguise pores is because it is very dense, it's very sturdy, and it doesn't flop around too much. It's very firm. The hairs are very, very thin, and that means it's actually going to get into the pores and coat the pores with the foundation, which sounds gross, but kind of needs to be done. So I take a small amount of foundation on the brush at a time, and I very gently, in circular movements, work it into the pores. Now we need to smooth down the rest of the skin around the pores. For that, I don't use a brush, I use a sponge. I do not use a damp sponge, I use a dry sponge. If you dampen the sponge, it will shear out your foundation, and I like a full coverage foundation, so I'm not going to do that. Okay, so what I do is I get a clean finger, I get a little bit of my foundation, and I just tap it on areas of my face. What you want to do is just very gently pat that foundation into your skin, so do not rub your skin, simply very gently pat it on, and you'll see that kind of smooths everything out, and you won't be able to as easily distinguish what is a pore and what is not a pore. Okay, so here you can see that this side of my face, the pores are still enlarged. They look very obvious and they're very, very visible. Then on the other side of my face, you can hopefully see that they look a little bit minimized. They're not as obvious as what they were on the other side of my face. There we go, guys. So this is the foundation finished. This is what I do because I don't want my pores to look as big as they do naturally, because like I said, I have ginormous pores, unfortunately. Oh well. Every single thing that I used or mentioned, including my face brush, my moisturizer, will be in the description box down below for you guys. If you found this video helpful, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos from me in the future. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!